Have you ever heard of a place so cursed, so drenched in tragedy, that people believe the walls themselves remember the screams? There is such a place, a hotel in Los Angeles, a building that still stands today, tall, silent, and watching. Its name is the Cecil Hotel. From the outside, it looks ordinary, a towering structure built in the 1920s when Los Angeles was booming with dreams and promises. The architecture? Classic, elegant. Its glass doors shimmer in the sun, polished brass handles gleaming. Step inside, and you're greeted by a grand lobby, chandeliers dangling from the ceiling, marble floors reflecting the light, tall columns that seem to reach the heavens. It was meant to be a place of beauty, a place of comfort, a sanctuary for travelers seeking a night's rest in the heart of the city. But what no one knew was that this hotel was destined to become one of the darkest, most sinister landmarks in all of America. Because you see, behind that inviting lobby, behind the smiles at the reception desk, the Cecil Hotel hides stories. Stories of blood, stories of shadows, stories of guests who checked in but never checked out. Now I want you to imagine this. You've just arrived in Los Angeles. Maybe you're a tourist, maybe you're chasing a dream, maybe you're just passing through. You see the Cecil Hotel. It doesn't look dangerous, it doesn't scream horror. No, that's the trick. It hides its true face. You drag your suitcase inside. The lobby smells faintly of old wood and cleaning chemicals. The receptionist hands you a key with a smile that feels just a little too forced. You step into the elevator. The doors creak as they close. The ride up feels longer than it should. And when the elevator finally dings and the doors slide open, you step into a hallway. That hallway is where it begins. The lights flicker above you, buzzing faintly. The carpet beneath your feet is worn, faded, with stains no one talks about. The walls feel like they're leaning in just a little too close. The air is thick, heavy, as if dozens of eyes are watching you behind the wallpaper. You don't see anyone. The hallway is empty, silent, but somehow you feel it. You're not alone. And this is why the Cecil Hotel is feared. Because this hotel has seen things. It has seen men fall from its windows, bodies crashing onto the sidewalks below. It has seen women vanish into thin air, last spotted walking these very halls. It has seen murderers live here, killers who found comfort in its cursed rooms. And it has seen the lost wander endlessly through its corridors, searching for an exit they will never find. They say the walls remember. They say the walls whisper. And if you're lucky enough, you might hear them whisper to you.
The Cecil Hotel wasn't always known as a nightmare. In the beginning, it was a dream. Built in 1924, it was supposed to be a jewel of Los Angeles, a luxurious stop for businessmen, travelers, and dreamers. But the timing was cursed. Just 5 years later, the Great Depression hit. Money dried up, glamour faded, and the Cecil Hotel began attracting a different kind of guest. The desperate, the broken, the dangerous. Drug addicts, criminals, people who had nothing left to lose. They filled the rooms, and with them came death. Suicide after suicide, tragedy after tragedy, until the hotel became known not for luxury, but for darkness. Imagine lying in your room only to hear the sound of someone crashing onto the pavement outside your window. Imagine walking down the hallway only to find police tape sealing off the room next door. Imagine riding the elevator, standing shoulder to shoulder with someone who, unbeknownst to you, was one of America's most infamous serial killers. This isn't fiction. This is the history of the Cecil Hotel. And this is why many believe the building itself is cursed, that it feeds on pain, that it wants tragedy. You see, the strangest thing about the Cecil Hotel is how ordinary it looks. That's the real horror. It doesn't look like a haunted house. It doesn't look like a broken-down shack. No, it looks normal. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because evil, real evil, doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it smiles at you from behind a hotel reception desk. Guests have reported strange things: whispers in empty rooms, cold spots in hallways, elevator doors that open and close by themselves. Some claim they've seen figures in the corner of their vision, shadows that vanish when you turn your head. Others say they hear footsteps pacing above their ceiling, even when they're on the top floor. And then there's the feeling, the overwhelming, crushing feeling that the hotel doesn't want you to leave. Picture this. You're alone in your room, midnight. The city outside is alive with noise, but inside, it's quiet, too quiet. Suddenly, you hear it. A knock at the door. You freeze. Who could it be? Slowly, you walk to the door. Your hand hovers over the handle. You pull it open. Nothing. Just an empty hallway. But before you can close the door, you hear it. A voice, whispering, right next to your ear. You slam the door shut. Your heart is racing. You tell yourself it's just your imagination, but deep down, you know better. You know this hotel is alive. The Cecil Hotel has been called many things: a haunted building, a cursed landmark, a vortex of negative energy. But one thing is certain: it has claimed lives, too many lives. And some believe it isn't finished yet. Because every time a new guest checks in, the hotel waits, watches, decides who will leave and who will disappear overnight.
Picture this. You've checked into your room at the Cecil Hotel. It's late, maybe close to midnight. The city outside hums faintly. Car horns, distant sirens, the usual soundtrack of Los Angeles. But inside this hotel, it's dead quiet. You step out of the elevator. The hallway stretches in front of you, long, narrow, and suffocating. The only light comes from tired bulbs overhead, flickering, buzzing faintly as if they're struggling to stay alive. You take a step. The carpet groans beneath your feet. You hear it. Someone else walking behind you. You stop. The sound stops. You turn your head. The hallway is empty, just wallpaper peeling at the edges, shadows stretching too far across the walls. You laugh nervously. Maybe it's just the building, old wood, bad pipes. That's what you tell yourself. You keep walking, your key clenched in your hand, but no matter how fast you walk, you can still hear it. Footsteps, pacing you, mimicking you. Finally, you reach your room. Room 509. You slide the key in, the lock clicks, and the heavy door groans open. And that's when the smell hits you. It's sharp, metallic, like rust, like iron, mixed with damp carpet that's been left wet for too long, the kind of smell that makes your stomach turn. It clings to the air, heavy, choking. You flick the light switch. The bulb above the bed flickers 3 times, then steadies. You glance around. The bedspread looks clean enough, though faded. The curtains hang crookedly and the wallpaper is bubbled in the corners, but nothing looks dangerous. Nothing looks out of place, except the smell. You set your bag down. You close the door. And for a moment, everything is still. You sit on the edge of the bed. The springs creak beneath your weight. You check your phone. No service. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. You're tired. You'll sleep. In the morning, you'll laugh about this. Just an old hotel. Just your imagination. So you crawl beneath the blanket. You close your eyes, and that's when it begins. At first, it's faint, barely audible. A tapping sound. Maybe a pipe, maybe the heater. You roll over, you pull the blanket tighter, but then it grows louder. Tap, tap, tap. Not from the wall, not from the ceiling, from the door. Your eyes snap open, your breath catches in your throat. Someone is knocking. You sit up, heart pounding. Maybe it's another guest, maybe the front desk. You whisper to yourself, it's fine, just answer. You stand, barefoot on the stained carpet. You approach the door. The knock comes again. You grip the handle, your hand trembles. Slowly you twist it, you pull the door open, and the hallway is empty. Silent. Just shadows stretching into nothing. Your throat goes dry. You close the door quickly, chain it, bolt it. You lean back against the wood, chest heaving. You tell yourself again, old building, just old pipes, maybe kids playing a prank. But deep down, you don't believe it.
You crawl back in the bed, pull the blanket up to your chin, close your eyes. Minutes pass, silence returns, and then you feel it. Someone is watching you. You sit up slowly. The room is dim, lit only by the faint glow of a street lamp through the curtains. And there, in the corner, near the wardrobe, something moves. It's faint, a shift in the darkness, the silhouette of something, someone, standing, perfectly still. You freeze, your breath shallow, your heart hammering so loud you think it might burst. You rub your eyes. Maybe you're dreaming. Maybe you're half asleep. You blink once, twice. The figure is still there, watching. And then it's gone. The corner is empty. Nothing but shadows. You tell yourself you imagined it. Exhaustion, your mind playing tricks. You collapse back onto the bed. You pull the blanket over your head like a child hiding from monsters. And that's when you hear it. A whisper, right next to your ear. Your blood runs cold. You rip the blanket off. The room is empty. The corner is still. The air is ice. You don't sleep that night. You can't. Every creak, every groan of the building becomes a threat. Every shadow feels alive. Every second drags like an eternity. And then, at exactly 3 a.m., the knock returns. This time it doesn't stop. Knock, knock, knock. You clutch the blanket tight. You whisper to yourself, "Don't open it, don't open it." But the knocking grows louder until, suddenly, silence. Your chest rises and falls, sweat dripping down your temple. You wait, listening. Nothing, just the hum of the broken light overhead. And then, from the other side of the door, a voice. Low, male, growling. You leap out of bed, fumbling for the light switch. The bulb flickers violently. The room explodes in shadows. Every corner seems to move. The wardrobe creaks. The bathroom door trembles. And then nothing. Stillness. Silence. But the smell of rust, of iron, of blood. It's stronger now, filling your lungs, burning your throat. You can't take it anymore. You grab your bag. You don't care about the hour. You don't care about sleep. You just need to leave. You run to the door. You unlock it. You throw it open. The hallway is waiting, long, empty, silent. But something feels wrong. You don't remember the hallway looking like this. The wallpaper is darker, the lights dimmer, the floor longer, endless. You take a step. The floor creaks. You take another. Behind you, the door to your room slams shut. You spin around. The number plate on the door is gone, blank. And then the whispers begin. Voices from the walls, from the floor, from the ceiling, male, female, young, old, all whispering the same word over and over. Stay. You run, heart pounding, bag slipping from your grip. The hallway stretches endlessly. No exit, no elevator, no stairs, just hallway after hallway. And no matter how far you run, the door to your room is always behind you. You're trapped. And that's when you realize the first night at the Cecil Hotel isn't just strange. It isn't just unsettling. It's the beginning. The building knows you're here. It's awake. And it doesn't want you to leave.
Some say the disappearances are explainable. Crime, drugs, suicide. Los Angeles is a city of shadows, after all. But the Cecil's history goes deeper, stranger. Because it's not just the missing, it's the way it happens. Always sudden, always silent, always without reason. One guest told police that she saw a man walk into the elevator. She swears she saw him. Red jacket, black shoes. He pressed the button for the 7th floor. The doors closed. When they reopened, the elevator was empty. The man was gone. No trace, no body, no explanation. Some people believe the hotel exists in 2 realities, the one you see and the one you don't. A shadow dimension, a place between life and death. And sometimes the hotel pulls people across. And maybe that's what happened to all those who disappeared. They didn't die. They didn't escape. They were taken. Taken into the walls, into the shadows, into the stomach of the building itself. Because if you walk those halls long enough, if you listen closely enough, you'll hear them, the lost souls, calling out, crying, begging, but trapped forever. The Cecil Hotel doesn't just haunt you, it hunts you. It watches, it waits, and when it decides, you don't leave. Guests vanish, records vanish, identities vanish, and what's left behind is only whispers. Maybe the hotel isn't cursed. Maybe it's hungry. Hungry for the lost, hungry for the desperate, hungry for anyone foolish enough to sleep within its walls. And every time someone disappears, the hotel grows stronger. That's why it still stands. That's why no matter how many tragedies happen inside, it refuses to close. Because the Cecil Hotel still wants more. So if you ever find yourself in Los Angeles and you see that building, tall, silent, waiting, don't go inside, because you might never come out.
The strangest thing about the Cecil Hotel isn't just the voices or the knocks or the shadows. No, what makes it infamous, what makes it terrifying even to this day, are the people who vanished inside. Guests who walked in and never walked out again. Reports stretch back decades. People seen entering their rooms, riding the elevator, walking down these endless corridors, then gone. Vanished. No checkout, no goodbye, just gone. As if the building itself swallowed them whole. One of the most chilling cases happened to a young woman. She wasn't from Los Angeles. She came here for a short trip, maybe a vacation, maybe an escape. She checked into the Cecil like anyone else. She had a suitcase, a smile, and plans for tomorrow. She never made it to tomorrow. The last time anyone saw her alive was on the hotel's CCTV. The footage shows her stepping into the elevator. At first, she looks normal, calm, maybe a little distracted. But then, something changes. She presses the buttons, one after another. Door open, door close, floors 1 through 10. Her finger stabs at them frantically, like she's desperate. But the elevator doesn't move. The doors stay open. She peeks out, head darting quickly, like she's being followed. She hides in the corner, then jumps out into the hallway. She moves her hands, speaking to someone, or something, but there's no one there. She laughs nervously, then flinches, jerks, as if a shadow just brushed past her. She presses herself against the wall, muttering, pleading, talking to the air. And then she vanishes from the frame. The elevator doors finally close, the machine moves, but she's gone. The next day, she didn't show up for checkout. Days passed. Her family called, worried. Police were called. They searched the hallways, the rooms, the stairwells, every inch of that cursed building. And then they found her. Not alive. Not in her room. Not even on her floor. Her body was discovered in one of the most disturbing places imaginable. Inside the hotel's water tank. Floating. Lifeless. For weeks, guests at the Cecil had been drinking that water, showering in it, brushing their teeth with it, until the maintenance workers finally opened the tank and discovered the truth. The young woman was gone, and the hotel had claimed another soul. And she wasn't the only one. There are stories of men, women, even entire couples who disappeared behind those walls. One man was last seen walking into the stairwell. Security cameras tracked him going up the steps, but he never came down. When police searched the stairwell, it was empty. No broken doors, no signs of struggle, just nothing. Another case, a traveling salesman. Checked in, he was seen in the lobby, smiling at the concierge, carrying his briefcase. That night, a loud bang was heard from his floor. Guests complained, but when staff went to investigate, his room was empty. Bed made, suitcase gone, as if he never existed. His name erased from the registry, his belongings vanished. And then there are the stories no one talks about. Because some people say the Cecil doesn't just make you vanish, it takes you, piece by piece. Imagine this. You're in the elevator. It lurches suddenly, then stops between floors. The light flickers, the doors open, but instead of the lobby, it's just darkness. A black void, stretching endlessly. You stare, confused. The panel buttons flicker, then go dark. You step back, panic rising, and then you hear it. A voice, soft, from the darkness beyond the doors. You press the buttons, nothing. You scream, no one hears. And then the elevator moves again. The doors shut. When they open, you're gone. No one sees you leave. No one sees you again. The Cecil has added another name to its walls.
Guests say the halls sometimes breathe,
The carpet rises and falls like lungs. The wallpaper ripples as if something underneath is moving. If you put your ear to the wall, you can hear the ones who got lost, the ones who never found their way back. Their fists pounding, their voices trapped forever behind the plaster. One man, a skeptic, thought it was all nonsense. He checked in just to prove people wrong. That night, he filmed himself walking the halls, camera in hand, muttering jokes, mocking the so-called curse. But when police found his phone, the footage showed him laughing, walking, until he suddenly stopped. His smile faded. He turned to the wall. And in the reflection of a glass frame, another face was staring back. He ran. The camera shook, hallways looping, numbers repeating, his breathing ragged. He whispered, "Why can't I get out? Why can't I get out?" Then the footage ended. The man was never seen again. Some say the hotel itself is live, that the corridors shift when you're afraid, that the building feeds on your panic. The more lost you feel, the more the halls twist, until you're so far gone you can't tell if you're dreaming or awake. And that's when the hotel decides what to do with you. Maybe it lets you stumble back to your room, delirious, shaking, swearing you'll never come back. Or maybe it keeps you wandering forever. The most disturbing account comes from a maid. She was cleaning the upper floors when she heard a phone ringing behind one of the locked guest doors. Curious, she pulled out her master key, opened it, and stepped inside. The room was empty. No luggage, no guests, just dust. But the phone kept ringing. She approached it slowly, trembling, and lifted the receiver. What she heard made her blood freeze. It was her own voice. She dropped the phone and ran. When she told her supervisor, he only shook his head and muttered, "The hotel does that sometimes," as if it was normal. So if you ever step into those hallways, if you ever find yourself walking, and nothing looks familiar anymore, pay attention, because the Cecil Hotel doesn't just trap your body, it traps your mind. It makes you doubt what you see, doubt what you hear, until you're not sure if you're awake or already dreaming. And when the phone rings, don't answer, because once you do, it knows your name. And once it knows your name, the halls will never let you out. The hotel will always find you.
They say the most terrifying part of the Cecil Hotel isn't what you see, it's what you can't trust. The walls, the doors, the endless hallways that never seem to stay the same. Guests have walked them, swearing they were heading straight toward the elevator, only to find themselves right back where they started, again and again and again, as if the building itself was folding around them, trapping them in a maze that has no exit. Imagine this. You're staying on the 12th floor. It's late. You step out of your room for a cigarette, maybe just some air. The hallway stretches in both directions, lined with identical doors. You pick one direction and walk. Left foot, right foot. The faded carpet muffles your steps. The light bulbs flicker. After maybe 30 seconds, you stop, glance at the room number on the wall. 1212. You nod, keep going. But then, you stop again. Look up at the next door. 1212. The same number, the same door. You frown, mutter to yourself that you're just tired, but you keep walking. And after a minute, there it is again. 1212. Same scratches on the doorframe, same light flickering above. You've been walking in circles. Except, you haven't turned once. The hallway is alive. It's bending you back, pulling you deeper.
Some guests say they've walked for hours, desperate, their throats dry, their legs trembling, until finally they collapsed on the carpet. And when they woke up, they were right outside their room, as if the hotel had decided to spit them back out. But others never made it back. The strangest part, the halls don't just twist, they change. One woman swore she stepped out into the corridor at night and the wallpaper was red. The next time, green. Sometimes the walls were covered in mold, sometimes pristine, freshly painted. Time itself didn't seem to matter. In one version, all the lights were out, the air freezing cold. In another, every bulb glowed bright, buzzing like angry bees. Yet she couldn't find her room again. It was as if each time she blinked, she was in a different hallway, a different Cecil Hotel. And then, there's the phone. Guests have reported it for decades. You're lying in bed, eyes heavy, when suddenly, the phone on the nightstand begins to ring. You glance at the clock. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., always the same. You hesitate. Who would be calling you now? Slowly, you reach for the receiver. You press it to your ear. Nothing. Just silence. Then, a voice. The words crawl down your spine. You slam the receiver down, heart hammering. But before you can catch your breath, it rings again. And again. And again. You unplug the phone, throw it to the ground, cover it with a pillow, but somehow it still rings. Until finally you answer it one last time, and the voice says your name. A former guest swore he experienced this himself. He told friends that after the third call he stopped answering, but the next night, as he lay in bed, the phone rang again. He refused to touch it. He hid beneath the blanket, but then the voice wasn't on the phone anymore. It was in the room. He checked out the next morning, packed his bags, and ran. But some aren't so lucky, because when the phone rings and you ignore it too many times, the voice comes looking for you.
Think about it. How many hotels do you know where so many people disappear without answers? Where cameras catch things no one can explain? Where voices whisper your name in the dead of night? The Cecil Hotel isn't just history. It isn't just legend. It's alive, feeding on fear, growing stronger with every story told about it. And maybe, just maybe, it's listening right now. So if you ever find yourself in Los Angeles and your curiosity drags you down Main Street, if you stand before that tall, shadowed building and feel the air grow colder, heavier, remember this: not every guest who walks through those doors comes out. Not every hallway leads back to where you started. Not every voice on the other end of the phone is alive. And not every shadow you see belongs to something human. So I'll ask you one question. Would you dare to stay one night? Narration: slightly warmer, closing tone, but still eerie. And that is the story of the Cecil Hotel, a place that continues to haunt America and maybe always will. But now I want to hear from you. Have you ever stayed somewhere you knew was wrong the moment you stepped inside? Have you had a night in a hotel or house where something followed you in the dark? Send me your true horror stories. Maybe you've stayed in a haunted room, maybe you've heard whispers in an empty hall, or maybe you've seen something no one else believes. Share them with me. Your story could be the next one told here, because if the Cecil Hotel teaches us anything, it's that the real nightmares aren't always in our imagination. Sometimes they're waiting right down the hall. Final line. Very slow, chilling, whispered like a warning. Sweet dreams, if you can.
Even after all these years, the Cecil Hotel still stands. Its walls cracked, its windows stained, but its presence undeniable. Tourists pass by, some snapping photos, others hurrying past without daring to look too long. Locals warn each other to avoid it after dark, and yet every so often, someone curious enough decides to step inside. They say what happened there is just coincidence, just tragedy stacked on tragedy, a cursed history. But anyone who's ever set foot inside those halls knows this is no ordinary building. It's more than concrete and steel. The Cecil Hotel breathes, it watches, it waits. Imagine standing at the base of the building, staring up. The windows are black, lifeless. But as you look, one flickers, just one. A single light in a room that shouldn't even have electricity. You squint, lean forward, and for the briefest moment, you see a silhouette at the window, a person watching you. But when you blink, they're gone. People who dismiss the legends call it imagination, pareidolia, the mind playing tricks in the dark. But what about the voices caught on tape, the shadows caught on film, the disappearances that never had answers? What about the screams guests swore they heard echoing through the plumbing, or the sound of doors slamming when every room on that floor was locked? Too many stories, too many coincidences. For some, that's proof enough. One paranormal investigator who spent a night there said the air itself felt wrong, heavy, like breathing underwater. He described feeling watched even when he was alone. Every time he set his camera down, the batteries drained instantly. At 3:15 in the morning, he woke to the sound of a phone ringing in the corner of the room, except there was no phone. When he checked his recording equipment later, he swore he could hear a whisper under the static, a voice saying, "Ella." He left before sunrise. He never went back. The truth is, no one knows what the Cecil really is. Is it haunted by the souls of those who died inside? Or is it something darker, something that was there long before the first brick was laid? Some say the land itself is cursed, a place where tragedies are destined to repeat. Others believe the building is a kind of prison, a cage for lost spirits. And if that's true, then every person who checks in becomes part of its story.